It is officially winter, and even though we're all taking precautions, it is high cold and flu season. Staying hydrated properly is key to helping your body deal with all this stress, and nothing has worked better for myself, my family, my patients than Hydrolite, the amazing rapid rehydration drink mix you've heard me talk about for quite some time. I've been obsessed with it. Also, in time for cold and flu season, they have their latest formulation, Hydrolite Plus Immunity. Become a huge favorite around this household. Hydrolite Plus Immunity starts with their fast absorbing electrolytes and a host of great ingredients. Each single serving, easy to pour drink mix contains 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, 300 of elderberry extract. They've created a great tasting formula that's high in antioxidants and zinc. Remember, zinc's very important for the immune system. They've combined this with Hydrolyte's 7 key electrolytes, making this a fantastic way to stay properly hydrated. Hydrolite Plus Immunity comes in convenient, easy to pour powder sticks that rapidly dissolve in water to make a great tasting drink that has 75% less sugar than your typical sports drink. It uses all natural flavors. It is gluten-free, dairy-free, caffeine-free, non-GMO, vegan. Hydrolite Plus Immunity is also now available in ready-to-drink bottles at Walmart next to the pharmacy, or as always, you can find it by visiting hydrolite.com/Dr. Drew. Again, hydralyte.com/DRDREW. And be sure to use the code Dr. Drew 25 at checkout for a special discount. A spike protein that stimulates the immune response.
Everyone, it's a dose of Dr. Drew.
We're already streaming here?
Yeah.
So
I have to go right in.
All right. So we are doing something very interesting today. We are streaming, and we're also live on Clubhouse in a room with a bunch of people that want to be our callers, essentially. Jason, why don't you ask the question again, and I will try to answer it so everybody can hear it. Go ahead.
Sure. I'm just curious about the differences between the Johnson & Johnson non-mRNA versus the Pfizer Moderna mRNA, and really I'm curious about which, what are the pros and cons of either and choosing which one.
All right. Really, these are great questions. Am I echoing? I know he was echoing. I'm not echoing. So mRNA is a new technology. It's been used in other countries, never been used here until now. And obviously we have millions of people vaccinated and it's gone pretty well, right? People have not had significant adverse reactions. Most of the adverse reactions that were sort of nasty were in people that had recovered from COVID and now are, and had a big immune response. What are we doing here? I don't need those? Okay. So the mRNA, again, it's a straight mRNA right into your system. It goes right into the cell. The cell then hits the ribosome. The mRNA produces a protein that's a spike protein that then is released out into your immune system or presented to your immune system, depending on how this, what we're talking about. And then the body produces a bunch of antibodies and hopefully memory cells against that protein. There's all kinds of people have all kinds of fantasies about it being somehow problematic downstream. I don't see how it could be. It's just a straight mRNA strand. I don't know how that could really. People go, it's going to alter the DNA machinery. I don't see how. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine is a attenuated adenovirus, a cold virus that has been altered to give it the potential to produce that same spike protein or some version of that spike protein. Novavax is coming out very shortly, and that's actually a nanoparticle constructed protein in this very complicated lipoid shell, this lipid technology. I'm very interested in that Novavax vaccine. It looks like it's going to get approved. It looks more effective than many of the other ones against moderate COVID generally, and against the variants, particularly the South African variant, which, as somebody who's recovered from COVID, I do not want to get. I do not want, if those variants take hold, we are in trouble. And personally, if I get a variant, I'm going to jump off a building. So I don't want that. So to me, the Novavax looks very appealing. It doesn't require low temperatures to be transported, but none of them are going to. It looks like going forward, it looks like even Pfizer, and Moderna may be changing their parameters in terms of how they need to be stored, and they may not need those ultra low temperatures. How do you choose which one to take is really a very interesting question, right? We have lots of experience now with the Moderna and the Pfizer where it looks really, really good. So it's low risk if you've not had COVID to go get that vaccine, it appears. The live attenuated virus, the Johnson & Johnson, I talked to a virologist. I was really enthusiastic about the Johnson & Johnson because it's sort of the way we normally make a vaccine. And my virologist friend said exactly this. I'm just going to quote what he said. He's a very smart scientist. And he said, why would you take the RNA vaccine? The adenovirus is filled with a bunch of junk. Why would you want to be exposed to that? And I thought, damn it. Now I don't know what to do. And so I'm sort of splitting the difference for myself. I'm probably going to get the Novavax vaccine, but I'm not going to get it until my antibodies drop. I'm following my antibody response right now. I had moderate to severe COVID, and my antibodies were about 10 times to 20 times what vaccine levels generally designate or create. So I can imagine if I took the vaccine, I would have a bad reaction. And I don't need it. I don't want to take it from somebody who needs it, you know? Does that answer your question?
Oh my God.
Super. Thank you so much.
All right, I hope that helps. It's kind of complicated, but it's Restream. We see you guys. Here's what we're doing. Restream. Yeah, what's in the lipoid stuff? Can I leave the page? I can't leave the page, can I? It drops everything.
Yeah, just let them listen to your show.
I have something I took a picture of. I want to read to everybody, and it's on my pictures. I can't get to pictures without dropping everybody off. Is that accurate?
You could probably swipe.
It scares me. It scares me to do that.
Swipe down for your photos.
Swipe down?
No.
No. Well, that stayed up. Let's see what this does now.
Yeah.
Well, if we drop, I'm afraid to do it. So I took a picture of the specific structure of the Novavax vaccine. Somebody's asking about it here. J&J is only 60% effective. Yeah, but that's against moderate and severe vaccine. It's like a lot of them are almost 100% effective against hospitalization, death, and more severe forms of the disease. So again, Jay's philosophy, yes, I did have COVID. For the Clubhouse guys, I'm talking to a Restream chat here. We're going out on YouTube. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, and Twitch. And GSR Savage wants to know how I'm feeling. Been feeling better. I got through 3 rough days of production. Joe Giannotti says the Novavax may be the safest vaccine. I don't know what the safest is. I don't know. But I'm interested. Yeah, and GSR says 60% effectiveness against the South African variant, which is what I'm interested in. I do not want to get a variant. Thank you very much. And the whole goal of all of this is to, get this thing suppressed as quickly as possible so it doesn't replicate, and and we can have less opportunity for variants to develop and whatnot. This is Saskia. Saskia, am I getting your name right? Saskia?
Hello.
Hi there.
Good evening from the Netherlands.
Good evening from Holland. Whereabouts are you?
In the south of Holland.
In I drove once from Paris to Amsterdam, and we drove through the south of Holland. It's very beautiful.
Yeah, it's close to the Belgian border where I am.
Right. And what can I do for you?
Well, I was wondering, I'm working from home about 12 months now, and only the last month I'm so fed up with that. I mean, and I'm kind of losing it mentally. What would you suggest for people that they I still need to have hope for bedtime and
yes. Here's what's missing. And I think you know what's missing. What's missing is social contact, right? And yeah. So it's not just the working from home. It's the lack of collaboration. If you're a team person, it's the lack of contact with peers. It's the lack of sharing with peers. You have to get out. You have to. How's the vaccine situation in Holland?
We have limited availability. So there's not many vaccines available. So it will take months and months and months before I get mine.
I think you have to go out and take rational risk on behalf of your mental health. I mean, you have to go and make contact with people out in the world. You just have to do it. You can still distance. You can still eat outdoors. You can still wear a mask. You can do all these things and be careful. Use your UVC lights and things. But I think if you isolate particularly when you start to feel it, I think that's a big mistake. I just think you eventually you're going to have depression, which you're probably already getting a taste of already. And
Maybe, yeah.
humans need social interaction. We have to have it. I mean, and especially it's one thing if there were a war going on and we were so scared to go outside. There literally our life depended upon it. Probably our motivational systems would kick in and protect us. But you kind of know you could go outside. You could be in contact with people, and so you're longing for it. And I think you should do it and get that vaccine as soon as you can. I mean, I think AstraZeneca's probably going to get to Western Europe pretty soon. That's a vaccine we're probably not going to get, but I would take that one too. That one looked good to me in the early stages. It's not quite as effective as some of the other ones, but it's still a decent vaccine. But please, go ahead.
Yeah. And I was thinking the one thing we are missing right now is perspective.
Yes, ma'am. Tell
and
me.
If we have that, I mean, if they would tell me 1st of September the world is opened up again, I mean, that's fine, but there's no perspective at all.
Well, and to your point, there's a psychological principle that let me just tell you that humans can tolerate discomfort, higher levels of discomfort, if they're told ahead how long and how intense. Yeah. There's something about our brain, if we can prepare and anticipate, we do a lot better. But with the open-endedness makes us feel helpless and powerless, and that's anathema. That is not good for the human soul. Okay?
No.
All right. Great call. Thank you so much for stopping in. Let me look at the restream again. Oh, I'm sorry. Your hair.
Oh, you're multitasking really well today.
Susan likes this. UK had only just paid Second World War, but oh, please, come on, Miss Previous on Twitch. My goodness. Interact with friends and family. Don't go out clubbing. Right. Yeah, the boss, you're absolutely correct about that. Don't go into big groups and things. Don't go clubbing. I'm absolutely correct. I think it's enough just to go out and have meals with people. I really do. And I think it's reasonable to do that. Joe Giannotti, what's going on with Chris? Is she here somewhere? If it doesn't affect kids won't need the vaccine, Kelly Gallagher says. That is true. However, different regions are going to have different recommendations about that. I know that in the LA Unified School District, they are talking about vaccinating everybody, which I think is a mistake. I think under age 12, it's not at all clear we should be vaccinating under age 12. If you want to vaccinate to 16, I'm good with that. But under that, I am not sure. George Clark says there's a New York City variant. George, there's going to be a lot of variants, right? This thing is replicating. So the question is the variant behaving differently in terms of its immunogenicity or its potential to create morbidity and mortality? And is it getting around the vaccines or the immune system? That's all that matters. There's going to be mutations out there, just are. That's just evolution in real time. If you want to know how evolution works, everybody, you want to argue about whether evolution exists, the virus is doing it right now in real time for us. Getting vaccine in 2 weeks after I get the vaccine, can I still bring it home to my son? Chad, we haven't proven yet categorically that you cannot be an asymptomatic spreader or even a spreader if you've been vaccinated. We don't think so. It's looking good. The more the data comes in, the better it looks. But we don't know for sure. Okay, good, Susan. Thank you. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Thank you, GSR Savage. Quote for a journalism assignment. What do I think about the safety of going out to eat now? Worth it for local business and sanity? How do you feel about curfews for closing early? I think limiting movement in certain areas where there are outbreaks is reasonable. I think there's zero evidence that there's ever been a transmission in an outdoor restaurant to staff or clients. Indoor, it's a little bit dicier. One of the questions we have, though, is we don't know if it's safer to go indoor with a HEPA filter and UVC light or outdoor with a plastic, shell around us that's essentially kind of an indoor environment. It's looking like restaurants with distancing and limited numbers is quite safe. And again, if there's an outbreak in the region, locally you can start to, focus in on things. Okay, I'm trying to take the calls in from Clubhouse here. This is Andy. I want to get Andy's question. It takes a second for Clubhouse to adjust. Yes, Pfizer is going to be tested on pregnant women.
Jeans.
Hi, Andy. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, hi,
Just
Jeans.
wondering,
What's up?
I heard on Fighter on the Kid the other day, Brendan Shaw was saying something about like that some people don't need the second vaccine. Is that true?
That is true. They are testing. There's some evidence that particularly the Pfizer vaccine may only require one dose, and you could still be 90% or so covered. I don't think that's been settled yet. So far, the Johnson & Johnson and the Novavax vaccines are single-dose vaccines, though they are testing those for a second dose. And for people like me who've had COVID, it looks like we'll only need one dose. It's really kind of a booster for us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for the question. I'm trying to get through as many people as I can here, so bear with me. Sarah, I see. Ooh, that's interesting. I want to get Sarah, and she has a question about couples fighting about COVID. And I see you guys. Blood pressure high since January. Hey, Sarah, what's happening?
Brussels.
What's that?
I live from Brussels, Belgium.
Wow, Belgique. C'est bien.
Across the border from your previous speaker.
How wild.
What would you say to folks who have different thresholds for keeping safe but live in the same house?
It's really
couples who love each other and want to keep each other safe.
I know that is a very difficult problem. I've seen all sorts of issues around that in spousal relationships, in friendships, in roommates, in siblings. I've seen all kinds of difficult problems. The burden, I say, like everything, it's meet in the middle, right? I mean, the burden kind of falls to the person that is more cavalier, right? Because you want to help protect the person that is anxious. I'm hoping that the person is anxious has good reason for that. In other words, they should be over the age of 60. They should be obese, have diabetes, and all these things. Let's just say over 60 even, or obese or diabetes. I can tell you, having had this thing, I had COVID for 9 weeks. It's awful. It's a bad illness, even if you're not, dying of it or not having all the potential complications. So I understand why people would not want it. But I do think there's got to be a middle ground. I mean, I do think sanity, you can't be histrionic about this. I feel like we have collectively become somehow very hysterical. We've lost we're reacting emotionally, and we're not reacting with much reason. And I think reason needs to prevail. You need to manage your risk. You need to watch your mental health, and you need to have a life. One of the difficult feelings I had when I was sick, let me see, was that I was injured in the field of battle, and I'll happily take the illness, and I'm glad it happened to me. But the idea that other people's lives were being completely crushed by fear or the government or lockdowns, that was really a hard thing to swallow emotionally. I wanted everyone to live if I was going to be sick, and I still basically have that feeling. Robert Simpson says, if you're going to get the shot, you might as well get both. There's something to that. I don't disagree with you. However, if you want to help out, right, and make sure enough people get the vaccine, I think it's reasonable to forego that second vaccine if you want. No, Ms. Previous, I was not annoyed. I just thought, wow, quite a question to ask, okay. That's a question I'm not prepared to answer right now. I'm really not. It's with so many things scrolling by, Ms. Previous, I just can't get to it. Wiz Chris, you doing okay? Bruce Johnson, Moderna round 1 a month ago, tested positive a week later. Is it safe to get the second round? Great question. You need to ask your doctor about that. If I were you, and if the COVID was very mild, I would take the second shot, because obviously the first one did not protect you that well, but I might wait a while. I might wait off for that second shot. So you need to talk to your doctor about that. When is Johnson & Johnson going to be available? I'm hoping within the month, but they are pretty slow in their production. It's not as robust as I thought they were going to be. And then again, we'll see what Novavax does. All right, this is I think Caroline. I'm just going down the line here. Hi, Caroline. What's happening?
Hi, can you hear me?
I do.
Is this supposed to be only about COVID? If we
Nope. Whatever you're interested in, I'm interested.
Just out of curiosity. I actually was curious what your thoughts are on how this time is going to affect single people in sort of like their 20s and 30s that would normally be settling down, buying a house, meeting somebody.
Yeah.
Most of my peers, I feel like, are wandering city to city, got rid of their apartments, they're not dating.
You are so right. I am curious about a lot of the longer term impact of this thing. I feel like the 8 to 15-year-olds are probably going to have the biggest scars from this. They didn't get their athletics. They didn't get social development. They didn't get cognitive development. They're social isolate. They're all suffering from social phobia because they're told that everyone is going to, you come in contact with anybody that's going to kill your parents. And the outside world is a dangerous place. And people are all sources of dangerous pathogens. And then also we don't give you the opportunity to develop your social skills, which you're supposed to be doing during this time. So I'm very worried about that group. Your age group, I'm just going to give you the instinct I have on this, and I have no idea if I'm right or not. But my hunch is that it's going to be on next year. Like it's going to be a big party. And people are going to go out. There's so much intense feelings about wanting to be around other people. My fear is that you're not going to be dating and sort of spending quality time with people. You're just going to be out partying, and you're going to spend another year wasted. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
It's going to be like the roaring 20s all over.
That people are saying no, but I think yes for at least a short while. But if you're interested in actually building relationships and getting on with things, I feel like that may take another year for people to be, they're going to be so interested in just going out that, and that's okay. Look, people live a long time these days, right? And you have to just, set your priorities and make sure you're paying attention to them. That's all. But my hunch is that pent up demand, particularly in urban environments, is going to lead to a lot of just hanging out rather than developing relationships. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I tend to agree. And I think people pushing out forming families, probably. I imagine we'll see people getting married later, having kids later.
Yeah, the only thing we have to keep an eye on, and maybe leaving urban environments where they might have stayed before, right? Because this has been sort of a spooky experience. And to bring kids up, you might think, I think I'm going to move to New Jersey. But oh, shoot, I was thinking, we got to pay attention to fertility. I mean, look, it's a real thing. And I hope people do more, take advantage of technologies that can free them up. Harvesting eggs, that kind of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do to take command of your reproductive health. And I hope people do that. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think there's any basis for having concerns over getting vaccinated for fertility reasons?
I don't. I've seen multiple experts address that, and they just keep saying it's a rumor, and there's no truth to it. Again, I've never seen a vaccine significantly. I know that some of them there's such a thing, but in terms of very likely, it's very, very unlikely. And I've seen no reports on the current vaccine. Good questions you guys are asking. Wear a mask and a condom, Delilah says. Janet, the constant smell of cigarettes in your nose could be COVID. It also could be just a sinus infection. And it could be nothing. So be careful. Tanya says she was in a low place, living alone, working from home. Started to think how will they reintegrate into social settings. Hit me hard and it sucked. Tanya, I get you, man. I think that's loneliness and isolation. We're all living like drug addicts. This is how drug addicts say. They isolate and they don't interact. It's a very unhealthy state for us, and it's had a bad effect on our mental health. 6 weeks of antibiotic nasal spray for Macron's of this. Mark, and I don't know how to answer that exactly. I'd have to see more about what exactly the illnesses you have in your sinuses. All right, I'm just going down the line here. This is Angela, I believe. Hi, Angela.
Hi, can you hear me?
I do. What's happening?
Hi, I am Angela. I'm from San Antonio, Texas.
Nice.
I'm currently a vice principal at an elementary school. And so I see, of course, all of our children are masked, all of our employees are masked. And I heard you talking just a little bit ago about the impact this has on like adolescents, but my curiosity is what your thought is on, because you said like they would potentially like rebound quickly over a certain age, but like socially, right, like 8 to 15, you think it's really going to impact them, and that's very interesting to me. But I'm thinking like our little ones, our tiny babies, right, like our kindergartners, even the kids that are in daycare, how they're able to read the social cues of the
no mask
people around them, and right, like, how do you think this affects their development?
All right. So you're absolutely correct. Social cues and the small movements in our facial muscles are exquisitely important, not just to understanding other people, but also building the capacity for empathy, closeness, and emotional regulation. That's the landscape of developing an understanding of ourselves, is seeing it reflected in the facial musculature of other people. So it's critically important. Now, there are windows of development where it's more important than elsewhere. Most of it is under age 5. It's critically important then. I feel like later there's a lot of room for catch up. You know what I mean? Kids can really catch up on that one. So I'm not. It's been brought up. People are worried about it. I'm concerned, but I think we'll get through that one. The bigger issues are these 8 to 15-year-olds who are getting depressed, who are, by the way, using the tablets and things. That you should listen to a podcast I did. I don't think it's up yet. It's with Dr. Lisa Stroman. Was talking about the data on depression and substance use and the misadventures they're having on the school-provided pads, on the internet, the things they're getting exposed to, and the sexting, and it's off the chain how bad it's getting, and nobody is doing anything about it. It's being identified, but nothing is being done, because how could you get to these kids to do it? They're not in school in a lot of states. So there is grave concern about this having some lasting impact on that 8 to 15-year-old age group that has such dependence on peer interaction for their sense of self, their sense of worth, and their ability to develop social skills. God only knows. I just don't know. That some of that stuff, I don't know how you catch up with it. I mean, imagine you missed 7th and 8th grade. How would you catch up with that? Or you missed 9th and 10th grade?
Yeah.
What would you, you know?
And just to add really quickly, like we're seeing this even in our curriculum development with our 4th graders and our 3rd graders. Like how can we get them to collaborate together if we have half the class learning at home and half the students are in person? And so like in order to like having them collaborate with each other just to be amongst their peers, we have them in breakout rooms, and we've just started to do that, and we've seen such a huge like growth in their participation, their engagement with each other. But like I didn't think of it from that standpoint, but that is you've given me a lot to think about, so thanks.
Yeah, you're doing a great job, it sounds like. And I think to myself, I try to get a little philosophical about this. As I hear bad news pouring in, I really believe in human resiliency to a certain point. And I think to myself, I mean, throughout human history, there were long periods of time where many children were living isolated lives. I mean, I'm sure you've read Little House on the Prairie to your kids. I mean, that was very isolated life. And yet, what's the woman that wrote Little House on the Prairie? I forget her name. Laura Ingraham. Laura Ingraham, Ingraham or Ingram or something. Yeah. Laura Ingalls. She developed a pretty substantial person. Maybe not the same person if she'd been around, other peers, but humans have had child development in relative isolation and been okay. So I just try to temper my concern with that philosophical outlook. Thank you for coming on in here. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all the work.
Thank you.
You got it. Okay, how are we doing on timing here? No, it's not the GSR Savage. It's not the TV show Little House on the Prairie. It's the books Little House on the Prairie, which were really good. Laura Ingalls Wilder, thank you. Laura Ingalls
Don't ask
Wilder.
me, I'm the last
Richard Kepler, thank you so much for that. Miss Previous, you're going after Tom Cigars? Uh-oh. Good luck with that. And you I understand you're making good points here, but I can't read more than about a sentence before it comes off my page. Yes, you guys, thank you, Joe Giannotti. I appreciate that. Wife and I in early 30s. What vaccine should we take when we are eligible? Should we wait until later in the year when we have boosters with new strains? Great question, Brady. Wait till later in the year because you just don't. Oh, good. Androsh Kazvili is saying he's seeing more and more scientists coming out and saying we're maybe a month or two away from this not being a pandemic. I think that's probably true. Again, pandemic is defined by excess deaths, right? But that doesn't mean we're not going to have a lot of cases around still. So be careful with their terminologies. So again, you're in your 30s. You don't really need the vaccine right now. You're not in a risk category unless you're obese or diabetic. You want to wait until your time comes up, unless you have chronic illnesses that put you at added risk. By the time you're up, it's going to be like June or July probably, and we're probably going to have 4 different vaccines. And let's see with the track record with the Johnson & Johnson and the Novavax. I'm looking at the Novavax. We know that the Pfizer and the Moderna are quite safe. We have millions of people vaccinated now. So I think it's sort of a toss-up by the time you get there. I don't think it's not as difficult a question as you might think. Just whatever's available, I think, is what you ought to do. But now you don't want to take it from people that need it is the important thing. Susan, I'm kind of burning out a little bit. How am I doing on time? How long have I been going?
Let's do a quick plug for the show. Everybody who's
on Clubhouse.
Clubhouse, yeah. Tell them where they can.
So on Clubhouse, what you're witnessing here and what you've been participating in is a show we call Dose of Dr. Drew or Ask Dr. Drew, which is on Wednesdays, where we take phone calls, but we may not need to do that anymore now that we have Clubhouse.
When we travel.
Yeah. Paulina wants to. I can't do this quick enough, guys. You're
He's just learning it.
Yeah. So. Well, you're alerting me to things and then disappearing off the page because multiple people are doing it. So anyway, for the Clubhouse folks, this is a show on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Periscope. It's going to move over to Twitter when Periscope goes away. And we do it most days. Most days, would you say?
Not most days.
Well, at least 3 to 4 days out of the week. And we are. And Ask Doctor is Wednesday. We always do that. That show is always 3 o'clock on Wednesdays. This show, Pacific time. This show is usually around 3 o'clock Pacific time.
To Clubhouse, so we thought we'd test it out.
Yeah, we wanted to see what Clubhouse was all about, and this is great having you guys call in and be a part of the show. It's really, really cool to me. And then what I'm responding to while those of you on the Clubhouse audience, I'm responding to a chat stream that I'm looking at from all the different sites, from YouTube, from Twitch, from Facebook, from not from Twitter though, right? Is Twitter on this? Yes, Periscope's on this too. Okay.
Also, I want to mention our sponsors because today.
Can you hear Susan, everybody?
Sponsors aren't working, so I want to do a shout out.
You couldn't get the ads to work?
Let me test this one.
All right, we're going to try to play something here.
Let's see. I don't know.
So our friends at iWand, those
we're doing Seed right now.
Okay, Seed is a probiotic. I take it. It's really a very good product. Seed, it's excellent.
The ad, I think, is playing. I don't think there's any.
Is there no sound to it? Proper function, but all too often the promises are in fact too good to be true. Thankfully, I became aware of a company called Seed and their flagship product, the Daily Symbiotic. Seed's Daily Symbiotic offers 24 clinically researched strains of microorganisms in a single dose. These strains support gut health and can improve regularity and relieve bloating, sometimes within as little as 24 to 48 hours. To me, what really sets Seed's Daily Symbiotic apart is the delivery system. While some products may offer the right strains, they're fragile, they rarely survive the trip through the gut, doesn't get where it needs to go, but Seed uses a capsule-in-capsule design that helps ensure the probiotic reaches your colon, which is where they often are needed. I've been taking Seed's Daily Symbiotic, and I really encourage you to check out their story and the science behind what they do. To try it for yourself, just go to seed.com/Dr. Drew. Use code Dr. Drew 20 for 15% off your first month of Daily Synbiotic. That is SEED.com/Dr. Drew. Use code Dr. Drew 20. That little diversion. Paulina wants to come in here for a second. Paulina, you wanted to come in? What's going on?
I just wanted to check in and say that Zach is in line for his vaccine.
Right on, right on. Which vaccine is he getting? Do we know?
I'm very uncertain, but
Very uncertain.
he's in line for it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, congratulations. Tell him congratulations. And we'll see you guys tomorrow, right?
Yep.
All right. I'm trying to go through the line here, so I'll see you then. Bye. Okay, let me just try to get... Perez Hilton was in the house here, Susan. Susan? That's fine.
I'm sorry, I was focusing on something else. What'd you say?
I said Perez Hilton in the house.
Hey, Perez, come on in.
Boy, there's so many of you raised your hand. There's Perez. Hey, buddy. Perez?
Is Paulina your daughter?
She is my daughter. How are you?
Amazing.
I know. She's 28 years old now. Can you feel old now?
Oh my God. My son just turned 8. I definitely feel old.
I can't believe that. That's crazy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm much better than last year because that was a mess for most of us.
Yeah.
And I have made a lot of positive changes as a result of that.
Good.
One is I'm getting a lot more sleep.
I
I used to only get about 5 hours of sleep a night, and I would function like that. And I did that for 16 years.
you know what?
Perez.
I did the same thing. And I've started sleeping a little bit more now, and I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I did it.
I know, same. How much sleep are you getting now?
I'm getting 8 hours. I'm getting 8.
Me too.
Yeah.
I feel like a different person.
I certainly feel like a different person. I don't know if I am a different person, but I feel more human. That's for sure. It's so funny. So your kids. What else are you up to?
Just trying to be a better person.
Well, you've been. But listen, it's so funny. Your name came up. I forget who I was talking to, and that phenomenon of you trying to be a good person, a better person, improve. Yeah, you've been doing that for a while, and I admired that you have been very clear and open about that.
Yeah, but I talk about this. Last year got me back into therapy, which I'm very thankful for.
Good.
Because the brain plays tricks on you, and for the longest time, my brain was saying that I should not go back to therapy because my therapist and most good therapists here in Los Angeles don't accept insurance. And it was telling me, you should not spend the money on that.
Right.
Save your money, blah, blah, blah. And, it takes time to get there and get back. And anyways, I got back in, and I've been talking to my therapist that, no matter how much I change, actually, maybe you probably might have some insight.
Go ahead.
Because Howard Stern also has gone through this big change.
Yeah.
But I feel like more people are willing to see Howard for who he is today.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they forget about old Howard, but they just see him for who he is today.
Okay.
Whereas I talk to my therapist and I say, no matter how much I change, it feels like most people still only choose to see 2007 me, which was an asshole and awful. And I'm embarrassed by 90% of what maybe not 90%, but a lot of what I did back then. Why do you think people can let Howard move forward? But I feel like my public perception is stuck a decade plus ago.
It's hard for me to address specifically Howard versus you, but let me talk to you about you. I'm aware that you've been working on changing, and you've been very public about this phenomenon. I've heard you talk about it before, and I thought I admired the hell out of it, and I watched you improve. Now, people are going to have their. It's like an old brand or something that's stuck in their mind. All you can do and all you have to do is hold your head up, keep walking forward, and be who you are now. And if you do that long enough, eventually the other stuff goes away. Or I think what's even better is people remember the old stuff and go, oh my God, look what he's doing now. I think that's better.
Well, Thank you.
Yeah.
You're my second therapist.
I know. Well, it really is I'm not kidding. Your name came up the other day on this very topic, and I was saying how you had really made real change, and I admired that so much. And now you've got kids, and this is the kind of thriving I look for, and and celebrate.
Aw.
Yeah.
Well, how's Adam Carolla doing?
He's the same. I just did a podcast with him. He's he never changes. He's probably been the same since he was 11. So, all right, Perez, I got to give other people a chance to come on. It really is.
Right.
I'm so glad you stopped by. Where are you living now?
I'm still in LA.
All right, we're in New York right now, but we're coming back, so we should have coffee or something when the world opens up again. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, man.
All right.
Good to talk to you.
Bye.
Bye. That was nice. That was nice. I was thinking about him lately.
Mention the hillsides.
Oh, Susan not listening to me. We have a big fundraiser event tomorrow night, hillsides.org. Susan will put the...
DrDrew.com/hillsides.
Okay, DrDrew.com/hillsides is where you can get the information. It's a big auction. This is one of the best treatment institutions for really traumatized kids, abandoned kids, foster kids. It's a school. It's therapeutic. There's just tons of professionals there, and it's a living environment. They keep them there for long periods of time. So go donate there. Hillsides is a great place.
Tom Cigar almost bid on John Stamos.
What's this now?
John Stamos is on auction, and Jim Jeffries.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. So Stamos is in there, Jim Jeffries is in there, and it's all supporting a great cause. I mean, this is if every institution designed to treat traumatized kids was organized like Hillsides, we would make so much progress. There would not be the kind of mental health problems we're seeing in this country. All right. Sister recently had the first shot of the Pfizer vaccine, had a bad reaction. The second will be worse, probably, Justin. So maybe make sure afterwards she takes some Tylenol afterwards, not before though. Something that's not being emphasized enough is alcohol for 3 days after the vaccine needs to be avoided because alcohol can reduce the effectiveness of the vaccine. And Tylenol and Motrin needs to be avoided for 2 days before. Also, can impact the efficacy of the vaccine. Tom Cigars wants Jim Jeffries too. All right, listen. Let me see if I can get maybe one more person up from the. He's got an interesting name here. Shocker, is that the right name? Shocker, am I getting that correct?
Hi, Doctor. Shocker.
Shocker, how are you, sir?
Good, and you?
Excellent.
So right now my mother is COVID positive, and I've been she's been taken care of here in Lebanon at home. Question is, so many doctors, I take the opinion of so many doctors because to provide her with the best care, and someone says she should take remdesivir. Another doctor says, no, it's useless. Someone says you should give her ivermectin.
Yeah.
What should we do, and who should we listen to, and where do we start this with?
You have to find a doctor that you trust, and you've got to go with him or her. I will tell you that the jury is out on ivermectin, right? If she does take it, it looks like the 5-day dosing is the most effective. How long has she been sick now?
10 days, 11 days.
And is she still febrile? She still have fever?
No fever. Oxygen levels a little bit low.
Okay. And how's her strength and that sort of thing?
A lot of pain, a lot of sleep. She's been sleeping all the time.
And how old is she?
61.
Does she have any other medical problems?
Diabetic.
Oh boy. Is she overweight or hypertensive?
Not really, no.
Okay. So it's the diabetes and the age that is the issue. Sounds like she has what's called moderate COVID, and she's been sick for 10 days. So the things that you would use for treatment now are steroids. Okay. Decadron is the steroid that people typically use, dexamethasone, and monoclonal antibodies. Now, I don't know what the situation is in Lebanon, but in the first 10 days after turning positive in this country, you can get something called bamlanivimab. Now, she may be outside of that window now. They're also combining bamlanivimab with another monoclonal antibody. I think that probably will need to be administered like at an ER or a hospital. But if she's not getting better, talk to your doctor about steroids and monoclonal antibodies. At this stage, those are the two things that could have an effect. It sounds like she's doing pretty well. It sounds like she's sort of on course. And provided she doesn't keep getting worse from here, which if she does, again, if I were treating her, I would get her the monoclonal antibodies and I would get her steroids. That's how I would approach it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you so much, and lots of gratitude to you, doctors everywhere, especially these times. Thank you.
Pleasure. Good luck, man. It's very, very hair raising. It's not fun, man. So I had, those of you who don't know, I had COVID for 9 weeks. I'm just out of the long hauler syndrome.
This pandemic began, we were not sure.
Post-acute post-acute syndrome or something we're calling it. It's a PACS, post-acute COVID syndrome, or I don't know. No, it's PASC, post-acute sequelae. That's what it's being called now, post-acute sequelae COVID. Yeah, PASC. Thank you, Dr. Fauci, for coining a new term.
Not Bamlib.
Not the Bamlib. So PASC is the new name for long hauler syndrome, which I had. I am been on fluvoxamine for the last 2.5 weeks, and it helped a ton. I'm trying to taper off the fluvoxamine right now. I stayed on it at its usual dosing. Because I had 3 really rough days of work and I was afraid to come off it. But now that I'm going more to a normal level of activity, I'm gonna try to get off the fluvoxamine and see how that goes. Chad Quackenbooks, what do I think of Florida? Governor DeSantis put a panel together of essentially Nobel laureates. They advised him to open up on a certain way. He opened up. And the pattern of outbreak in Florida was superior to California, in spite of California being completely locked down. So I would say California got the raw end of the deal, and Florida seemed to make a good choice. That's all I can say, based on the bits of data we have, which is Florida had an outbreak just like every other state in the country. It was less severe than California, which was totally locked down. No evidence that lockdown works. There's just no evidence. So I don't know. Now the reality is that people in Florida were distancing and staying at home and doing things. When we get scared, we will do stuff naturally. We don't need daddy government to tell us we have to live a certain life. We tend to naturally navigate in more appropriate ways when the risk is out there. That's what we see. My son drove across country a couple weeks ago, and he said everyone was at home. They stayed at home, even in states that were completely open. So people are not dumb.
We're all sheep though now.
John Blackburn, no, he was so helpful during the AIDS epidemic, which I was very involved with. You got to think back to that AIDS epidemic. He was the leader through that. He led me through it. He's the reason I went on the radio in the first place. He told the young physicians to get out there and educate about this illness because no one was doing it then. And we got through that with his guidance. And I think the guy has excellent judgment. You may not like some of his politicizing or whatever. He's in a political position. I don't see. We will. If we had just listened to him, we would have been better off. He never recommended school closures. He never recommended lockdowns. We'd be way better off if we would just listen to him. NMP says, "Shut up, Susan. I didn't hear you talk."
I said we're all sheep.
Oh, okay. Mike Marino tested positive today. Write it out. Depends your age. Depends how old you are. Is all of California locked down? Yeah, it was all locked down. It's sort of slowly. People are able to go to restaurants and some stores now, but it's still ridiculous. Okay, I got to wrap this thing up here. We appreciate the Clubhouse world. We love that you came by to listen today. Yeah, it was great that you were here. Those of you that raised your hand and I got to speak to, I'm so appreciative that you came in here. We will probably do this on a daily basis. I will probably what? Not a daily basis, on many days.
Don't say that.
With the Clubhouse, when we do the dose, we'll bring the Clubhouse in. No?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so that's most days. And good. And it's a good way for us to get phone calls and questions and get some interaction with people. So we'll try to do some of that. I do also do an Instagram live periodically. And if you want to see my chronicle of my illness, I put it all up on Instagram stories. So you can see it there. It's Dr. Drew Pinsky, Pinsky, Dr. Drew Pinsky. Otherwise, again, this dose of Dr. Drew you can get at drdrew.tv. And the people that make it possible for us to do this are our friends at Hydrolyte, which make masks work. It's a povidone iodine solution for your nose and mouth that kill the virus. We have the seed people with the probiotic, and of course we have the Hydrolite, which is a hydration product that saved me when I was sick, and I'm very hot on. Finally, we have the Hillsides event tomorrow night. We don't know what time. Saturday night, I beg your pardon. You can find out more at drdrew.com/hillsides. And the last thing would be the eye wand. If you're traveling or moving about, this UVC light eye wand is fantastic. So it's drdrew.com/eye wand. Is that true? drdrew.com/eye wand. It's like the iPhone of the UVC world. Let's see.
I gotta fix all.
Molly Hannah, I don't know what you mean. Take questions from the chats. I've been reacting to the chats. I've been going back and forth between.
We won't let you out.
Yeah, no, we will not abandon the chats. Don't worry. We will be doing the chats and the Clubhouse for calls, and we'll mix it up. We'll mix it up a little bit. The nice thing about the Clubhouse is that we get kind of stuck on COVID, and we want to expand out to other topics, and it's been kind of interesting talking to the Clubhouse people. So. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for coming by. And we in tomorrow around this time? Yes, Susan? Yes? No? Hello?
I'm sorry.
We'll be in tomorrow around this time?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see you then. Bye.
This pandemic began. We were not sure how it spread. Everyone began wearing masks and using hand sanitizers. Great ways to spread, but a lot of people still get sick. I can personally attest to that. We now know that COVID-19 spreads via aerosols and droplets from the nose and mouth, and I've been thinking about this for a while. Why aren't we also sanitizing the nose and mouth, killing the virus directly at the place where it spreads? Why weren't more doctors thinking about this? Well, some doctors have done the research. Wish I discovered it sooner. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Hydrolyte. It's an FDA-registered antiseptic for the nose and mouth that's proven to eliminate 99.99% of the virus that causes COVID-19 in just 15 seconds. That's right. It's created by a team of clinicians with decades of experience in antiviral treatments, initially created to protect healthcare workers. These are smart scientists, and it's a great product that also eliminates many other viruses and infecting particles. I'm using both their nasal antiseptic swab and their oral spray to help protect those around me, and you should be too. For others and for yourself. Whether you're hopping on a 3-hour flight, always use it there, visiting grandparents, or attending a meeting that you can't miss, Hydrolyte's family of oral and nasal antiseptics give you the safe, easy, on-the-go antiviral protection for up to 4 hours. I encourage you to try Hydrolyte at hydrolyte.com today. My listeners get 10% off with the discount code Dr. Drew. That is HALODINE.com, discount code DRDREW. So obvious. It just makes sense. Stop the virus before it spreads and gets in your body with Hydrolyte.
It is officially winter, and even though we're all taking precautions, it is high cold and flu season. Staying hydrated properly is key to helping your body deal with all this stress, and nothing has worked better for myself, my family, my patients than Hydrolite, the amazing rapid rehydration drink mix you've heard me talk about for quite some time. I've been obsessed with it. Also, in time for cold and flu season, they have their latest formulation, Hydrolite Plus Immunity. It's become a huge favorite around this household. Hydrolite Plus Immunity starts with their fast-absorbing electrolytes and a host of great ingredients. Each single serving, easy-to-pour drink mix contains 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, 300 of elderberry extract. They've created a great-tasting formula that's high in antioxidants and zinc. Remember, zinc's very important for the immune system. They've combined this with Hydrolyte's 7 key electrolytes, making this a fantastic way to stay properly hydrated. Hydrolite Plus Immunity comes in convenient, easy-to-pour powder sticks that rapidly dissolve in water to make a great-tasting drink that has 75% less sugar than your typical sports drink. It uses all-natural flavors. It is gluten-free, dairy-free, caffeine-free, non-GMO, vegan. Hydrolite Plus Immunity is also now available in ready-to-drink bottles at Walmart next to the pharmacy, or as always, you can find it by visiting hydrolyte.com/Dr. Drew. Again, HYDRALYTE.com/DRDREW, and be sure to use the code Dr. Drew 25 at checkout for a special discount. Well, I too have struggled with GI issues over the years. I have something called Lynch syndrome, so gut health is extremely important to me. And while gut health awareness has increased, it's led to a wellness trend that's inspired a host of questionable marketing and some false claims. Now, you've seen the word probiotic attached to all kinds of supplements, drinks, even more. They may claim to deliver the healthy microorganisms our gut needs for proper function, but all too often the promises are in fact too good to be true. Thankfully, I became aware of a company called Seed and their flagship product, the Daily Symbiotic. Seed's Daily Symbiotic offers 24 clinically researched strains of microorganisms in a single dose. These strains support gut health and can improve regularity and relieve bloating, sometimes within as little as 24 to 48 hours. To me, what really sets Seed's Daily Symbiotic apart is the delivery system. While some products may offer the right strains, they're fragile, they rarely survive the trip through the gut, doesn't get where it needs to go, but Seed uses a capsule-in-capsule design that helps ensure the probiotic reaches your colon, which is where they often are needed. I've been taking Seed's Daily Symbiotic, and I really encourage you to check out their story and the science behind what they do. To try it for yourself, just go to seed.com/Dr. Drew. Use code Dr. Drew 20 for 15% off your first month of Daily Symbiotic. That is SEED.com/Dr. Drew. Use code Dr. Drew 20.